Thank you very much for joining me here on the Job Scam Report, a special edition, one right before the holidays. Thought it was pretty cool that I was reached out uh, to talk to Ron Krebs of CEO of Kidas, or is that Kidas? Is that Kidas or Kidas? I meant to ask.
Kidas. It's Kidas. We actually started the Kid alert system, so became Kidas.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Very good. He talks a lot about AI. And in fact, if you want to follow him on LinkedIn, he posted something very interesting this morning, which kind of relates to what we're talking about now. We're talking about AI generated content as far as posts, deep fakes. I'm very interested now, being that you posted this morning, because I think that's the most troubling. And for the past year and a half or so, I've been sounding the horn saying it's coming, it's coming. Now it's here. Now this technology is available to about everybody, right? So I think
Six
everybody will be,
out there.
yeah. So there's a lot of ways. So as far as what you've been seeing, do you get employer inquiries from companies saying how we're going to deal with this?
Yeah, so I think I talked with a recruiter that told me that about 20%, and that's a big company, about 20% of their job applicants applying to positions at the company are actually
Hmm.
using deepfake. They're using some form of AI generated content to try
Hmm.
fool their interviewers. Some of them
Hmm.
are just cheating. They're asking, they don't want to, reveal their identity, and for
Right.
some reason. And she talked a lot about, actually, I don't know if it's true, but she talked a lot about that they're seeing a lot of people from, they're in semiconductors, a lot of people from countries that are not allowed to buy US AI chips are trying to infiltrate
Hmm.
and get jobs in companies like Nvidia and other companies to get insight and into what they're doing. So it works both ways. And so sometimes potential employees are trying to scam companies. A lot of the times, companies, someone who's pretending to be the company is scamming the potential employee. So it goes
Yeah.
both ways.
Yeah, it's been going both ways. So everybody, that kind of encompasses everybody. I don't think, unless you're not working at all, or if you're working privately or working for yourself, uh, and even if you're working for yourself, you still got to be on guard for people who will try to take your information and um, hold it hostage, even.
Yeah, for sure. Even if you work for yourself, you still maybe use contractors, you still deal with customers, you
Hmm.
deal with other people, and definitely people are going to be using uh, deep fakes in order to try to scam you. It's out
Yeah.
there. Scammers have been scamming, and now that they have new tools, it's a new game for them.
Right. So as we were talking, um, we're hoping, and I'm hoping that you could provide some insight on how people can spot and avoid, and even go further, report and what have you, uh, the AI generated videos, or even posts or things that they say. I think posts kind of, people, they do enough deep enough research, they can get it. But we've been conditioned the last 5 or 6 years or longer that video shows authenticity, and it shows that people are willing to connect. So now we had this trust, and now we've got to vet and research everything so that we get the real person, or that we disregard the fake people.
Yeah. So when we're talking about deepfakes, I think it's important to divide it to three categories. The
Okay.
first categories are videos, fake videos. So imagine someone generating a video of a celebrity or a video of the president. They're saying
Hmm.
something, they're talking for 2 or 3 minutes. That's
Hmm.
one type of deep fake. And that's dangerous because someone can trick you to think that something that didn't happen actually happened in reality while they just generated it. That's
Hmm.
one type of deep fake. The other type of the deep fake is you talking with someone who's not real. So imagine you and I are talking, but I'm not actually a person. I'm just a bot. I'm generating the content on the fly as we speak. That's another
Right.
type of deepfake. You're thinking that you're talking with a person, but you're actually talking with an AI bot. So that's the
Hmm.
second one. The third one is basically a mask, so a digital mask that you put on yourself to hide your identity. So maybe you're a scammer, you're talking with someone, but you don't want them to know your identity, so you use a deep fake, a mask, to hide your identity. And while they're speaking to you, they don't see your real face. They see some AI generated facial expressions, and so on. So that's the third type of deep fake that we can see. All of them can cause harm. All of them could be used to scam people, but different techniques to to differentiate and to deal with them. One of the
Right.
things that people do in the earlier versions of people using AI masks was
Hmm.
like, let's say you're talking with someone and you tell them, hey, can you put your hand over your face like that? And if you do
I,
that
mhm.
with the with the old versions, it used to break the the mask, so you would be
I
able to
called
see
it.
their.
I called it the John Cena test, where you ask someone to wave their hand in front of their
Yeah,
face, and supposedly, if they were fake, they couldn't. But now that is different, isn't it?
yeah, it's different now. They can do it at the earlier versions, like when we talk about the earlier versions of a year and a half ago or something like that, you couldn't do that, and now
Hmm.
you can do that. It's sophisticated enough to allow you to do that. So
Right.
what can you do?
Right.
And a lot of those things rely on the addresses that you get it from. So if you're a company and you're communicating with someone, there is almost no way to verify personal Gmail addresses. And it's very
Hmm.
hard. There is a way, but
Right.
it's very hard to do that. But if you're talking with a company and you're thinking about your you're not sure that you're talking with the company, check the email address. The
Hmm.
email address is signed. They own the address, and if it's the legitimate address, email address, and URL address of the company, you would be able to tell. So because it's such a difficult problem, you can rely on other signals, and the other signals could be legitimate numbers, legitimate email domains, and
Hmm.
if they own those legitimate numbers and they contact you from those numbers, um, it helps clarify some of those issues. Yes, number could
Hmm.
be spoofed. There are a lot of other ways to do that, but that's the first indicator. If they contact you not from an official number or official address, or an address that seems like the official one, but is a little bit different, that's definitely a scam.
If I could interject real quick, the I just had happen literally just in the past couple of hours, like where I go to church, my pastor had sent me a note uh, asking for something that was really out of the ordinary. For me, I didn't pay much attention to it till we got something, a message church wide later that saying that somebody's spoofing our pastor's address. And I checked, I went into Gmail and checked and saw that he doesn't send email through his Gmail. He sends it from the church email. And so I also know him. So I text him. I said, this is not, you don't use this email address, do you? And he says, no, it was spoofed. Got it. So, and that's understandable, being that it's the holidays, people, scammers play on people's emotions, and they're
Sure.
playing on this time of year. So that's one of the reasons why I want to have this session like soon. I mean, I've been talking to your people past couple of days. I said, let's do this quick because this is the holidays and more of that's going to happen, even as we speak, and as people probably experience, like I did, that you've got to check everything, even if it seems like an ally or somebody who's connected. If it's unusual on court request, you almost have to use your spidey sense to detect behavior, saying that this is not the way a professional behaves. This is not the way my people behave. This is not the way my contacts usually behave.
Yeah, and a lot of people use double verification, which I like. Which double verification basically means that you get a message from someone on on your email. The next thing that you do is you text their number. So
Yes.
use two form of channels in order to verify. He emailed
I
you, you call him. He called you, you emailed him.
hmm
A lot of families also have sometimes something that they call family password.
Right.
You get someone calling you, and it sounds like your son or daughter, and they're asking for something, but you're
Yeah.
not sure. Hey, what's the family password? They don't know the
Right.
family password. It's probably not them.
Right, right. No, that's great, and that goes a lot too. And I know we might get a little off kilter, but people give out their personal information, like on LinkedIn posts and Facebook posts, and you happen to use those words as passwords. You could not fare well by using that particular tactic because you're giving people an in.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Your password should always be, some random characters and not words or anything like, I don't know, your pet's name or your
Right,
birthday or anything like that, because that's the first thing that, someone would guess.
right,
But yeah, the information that you post on LinkedIn is definitely something that can be used against you. I got, a text messages from one of our employees
hmm
seemingly from one of our employees. I was at a conference meeting someone, and I posted it on LinkedIn, and I got a message. Hey, I know that you're meeting this person at the conference from one of our employees. Hey, can you do me a favor? I need this gift cards. So they use a lot of information that you post online in order
hmm
to get you, and it's very personalized to what you do, where you are, who you're meeting, and so on.
Right. So when people see something that they see as far as somebody, you're getting a video message from something personal. How about when they see something like a job post? Of course, it could be also AI generated and on LinkedIn. They just definitely dig deeper and contact the company. Or contact maybe people connected to the company that you know are real and ask them, hey, is your CEO or is your company pushing this kind of thing out just to be sure? Because really, by the eye test, it's hard to see, it's hard to tell.
And I just posted about it like a few days ago.
Hmm.
Anyone on LinkedIn can claim to work in any company,
Right.
unless you have someone from the company reporting it. We had someone claiming to work at our company just a month ago, and of course we reported it. But just by accident, like every few weeks, we run a test and we want to make sure who's claiming to work at the company, so we caught it. But
Hmm.
I'm sure that if you go to one of those big companies, Meta, Amazon, Nvidia, there are probably hundreds of people who claim to work at the company, but they don't actually work in the company, and no one
Hmm.
knows it. And they could be reaching out to people on LinkedIn, claiming, "Hey, I'm recruiting for a position at my team. How about we jump on a quick call?"
Right, right. So this right now, there's nothing exists that there's not a software that can kind of peek through right now that's really on the market that can peek through like they do in the movies and say, no, this is just an avatar, or no, yes, this is a real person.
In deepfake, there is technology to do that. We actually provide this technology. We don't provide it directly to customers, but we work with
Mhm.
companies to embed it into their solutions. And
Gotcha.
we also have, not to be too promotional, we also have solutions that help people to understand if scammers are calling them by analyzing the voice conversations, and also
Hmm.
if scammers are texting them by analyzing the text messages. So there are solutions out there. You just have to make sure that you're using one of them. And also, as with every solution out there, there is no you cannot replace common sense. So
Right.
you use solutions, you use tech, that's great, but still have common sense before you do
Hmm.
something stupid. Because
Or
even
if
if you
you
didn't get even if you didn't get an alert, it still could be a scammer.
right. And that's not to say that there'll be real people who have real intentions but have scammy behavior in the sense that they just operate in a very suspicious way. And we're not talking about those people at this particular time, because I think people will say, well, this thing is a scam and that thing is a scam. So no, this person just behaves badly, as opposed to somebody who's really trying to take your personal information and take your money.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like I wouldn't want people to miss on great job opportunities just because they
Hmm.
think it's a scam. Sometimes recruiters reach out to hundreds of people. Sometimes they don't take the time to make it seem like legitimate, reach out. Sometimes,
Right.
yeah, that happens as well.
Yeah. And there's some recruiters that use text. A few of them do, to initially contact, but mostly, what I've learned from my recruiter friends, we always ask for opt-in. We ask, can we send you these messages via text or email? And in fact, really, a lot of companies, banks, and creditors, insurance, etc., they ask you, can we send you messages via text up front? So that way, you won't be surprised when you get one, because nobody wants to miss an opportunity. But I think it might you people may miss an opportunity because they don't do enough research, or they overreact to having gotten so many.
For sure. That's a great, rule of thumb. If you get
Hmm.
a text message that you didn't ask for from, a legitimate company, a
Hmm.
bank, a credit card company, it's most likely a scam. Like they,
Right,
they will ask for your approval.
right, right. And especially if if they need sensitive information, they'll go the extra mile. They would have contacted you by phone, by email, by text. But you know, there are those who won't. Again, people just need to go deep enough down the hole sometimes to save themselves a lot of. Is there anything else that we didn't cover you think that might be essential to the conversation, before we head out?
I think specifically because of the holidays, um, I know that some companies, unfortunately, some companies are laying off people just before the holidays. And some bigger companies don't want to pay, end of the year bonuses, and
Hmm.
they want to show that they cut people before the end of the year. It happened in quite a few big companies. It happened recently in
Hmm.
Verizon. It happened in a few other companies. So, and scammers know that because of the end of the year, because of the holidays, people are more a little bit desperate to find new
Hmm.
jobs. They want to find new jobs before the holidays. So just be extra cautious, this holiday season, um, with people reaching out to you about jobs if you were recently laid off, or regarding anything, um, for the holidays, gifts, presents, and so on, promotions. If it's too good to be true, it's probably a scam.
Yes. Uh, Ron Kurbs of Kidas, or is that Kidas? I know I
Kidas.
asked you. Kidas. Thank you so much for joining me here, especially at the last minute. This went well, and definitely, I think, I wanted to have it on my timeline, on my YouTube channel, and of course, it'll be repeatedly, going through my newsletters over the next year or so. That these warnings are essential for people to remain safe. In the meantime, thank the rest of you for joining me for this short conversation, and it's on replay now. So you can either go here or go to my YouTube channel for the replay. Again, thank you, Ron, for your time. And for the rest of
For
you,
having me.
signing out. Clarify, verify, and don't just apply. Research everything that you see. You guys have a great holiday.